by for the Brewery Underground podcast.
In Nashville's harbor wise, craft and brews will meet the skies. Stephen Scott, they lead the way. Brewery Underground, night and day. Raise your glass, let's ignite. In this city, we unite. Raise your glass, let's ignite. In this city, we unite.
The Brewery Underground podcast. Well, Stephen Scott, we are in Nashville, Tennessee. And you know, Scott, you and I, we don't play any musical instruments. But if we did, I don't know who would be the lead singer. You probably would be. Maybe I'm over here playing guitar. But we would have a drummer.
I'd be out front, but I wouldn't be singing. Yes, we would certainly have a drummer.
We would have a drummer. And so today, that
Scott plays
drummer
a
joined
mean
us.
skin
He's here. He has returned. Chris Finen, the little drummer
Good to be
boy.
back
How's
with you
that?
guys. Yeah.
Chris is
to be
basically the
back with
third
you.
host. He's our third host sometimes.
Third our host, that's right.
Yep.
And Chris today is joining us because, well, we love when he joins us, but there's a good reason too, because he's brought maybe some musical guests, some brewery guests, some friends that Chris has known for a while. We love talking about breweries here on the Brewery Underground podcast. And Chris, I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, my friend. Talk about who we have here today on the Brewery Underground podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks, Steve. Scott, man, it's great to be back with you guys. And really excited to have New Groove Brewery with us today. Jonathon Duke and I go way back to the early 90s. And we'll talk a little bit about that over the course of this episode here. We go back in our drum corps circles and also have Josh Dodson here. They are the two co-founders of New Groove Artisan Brewery over in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. And so it's if you're not familiar with Boiling Springs, it is a suburb of Spartanburg. So if you find yourself in that neck of the woods, look them up. Fantastic place there. They're doing some great stuff, and look forward to getting into it with these guys. So yeah, like I said, Jonathon Duke and I go back. We got to know each other back in the early 90s. He grew up in Carrollton, Georgia, and we both happened to march a drum and bugle corps out of Atlanta called Spirit of Atlanta. We're both percussionists, and we've kind of stayed in touch through that activity really over the past 30 plus years here. So was really excited. Got a chance last year to get by and see New Groove and catch up with Jonathon a little bit. And so it was great of Scott, you and Steve to reach out and get him and Josh on the podcast here. And first time I really got to talk with Josh Dodson, who's his partner. They both met, correct me if I'm wrong, at Home Brewers and met at the Spartanburg Brew Club. And that's kind of how the partnership started out. And Josh Dodson, I think, handles most of the restaurant and the food aspects now. Calls himself the CBO.
Oh. Yeah, we learned that today. I was glad to see that.
Chief Burger Operator.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah,
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Before we
telling
go
those stories about the late past century when we met each other.
That's right.
Back in the late 20th century.
Speaking of drumline, Jonathon, you mentioned something. You asked if this date was specific for a reason. Can you chat about that real quick?
Yeah, today is March 4th, which is it's kind of a symbolic day, I guess, in the marching arts, and everybody changes their profile pictures to pictures of back when they marched, and talks about marching forth and how the marching arts affected them. So I didn't know. I thought maybe with my connection with Chris, if this was chosen on purpose, but it sounds like it's just a happy coincidence, and just meant to be.
I wish we were that well thought out. Well, there's another thing that goes on today on March 4th specifically, and it's Steve Sullivan's birthday. So Steve, right here before us, it's his birthday. He was probably going to try to slip through without mentioning it. So happy birthday to Steve on this March 4th.
Cheers.
Happy birthday,
Cheers.
Steve.
Well, thank you. 21 again. A few times over, but that's all right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Jonathon, Josh, kind of talk about how this got started from you guys kind of being home brewers to meeting in the Spartanburg, Brewers Club, and then, hey, let's start something.
Yeah, well, I mean, you kind of nailed it. We met in the local homebrew club, kind of were starting a local homebrew club or in from, with the first handful of people, out of 2013 probably ish. And when Untapped was getting real big and there was a new beer bar that opened in Spartanburg, and we all kind of hung out and kind of met hanging out there and grew the club there. And then there was kind of a subgroup of the club that would meet and share bottles. And that's we started hanging out more often in that smaller group, and often at my house or, one of our friends, and cracking open bottles, and then started talking about, what if.
How hard was that not hard even, but to make that transition? Because I'm sure home brewers like, oh, we're going to start a brewery. When you guys did it, pulled the trigger, what was that next step like?
Yeah, it probably was harder than we knew it was going to be. Like, anything else. It's a good thing we didn't know it was going to be that hard.
We can do this, no problem.
And you guys open in 2017? Is that right?
2017, yep. 16 went the summer activity that Chris and I met do it. Marching as members, I was teaching in 2016. Kind of after that summer, it was I felt like I was coming back to my high school and, starting over there. And it's just like every year was kind of starting over. And I felt like I'd sort of had that feeling like I had, I'd achieved a lot of great things and I'd kind of done what I was going to do. And maybe it was time to, see what else was there. So I'd gotten really into the brewing, and, actually that summer of teaching drum corps, when we would go from city to city, I was looking up breweries in those other cities and going and visiting, and probably should have been a little more focused on what I was supposed to be doing, rather than looking for new breweries every town we went to. But so, it was a passion that was kind of developing, and Josh and I talked about, he had started some businesses in the past, and had an opportunity to sell his business that he was running then. So we kind of talked about maybe it was time to look at that. And so it was kind of the fall of 16 that we decided to do it. And it took a few months for things to work out. His selling his business fell through or whatever. And then they came back and took the offer, and it just things kind of sort of lined up from there. We found a building, and eased into lucked into where we were. Thought we'd be open by April. We opened in July.
We were ambitious. We were very, very ambitious. But also, fortunately, our timeline came together much more quickly than some others around that same.
I was going to say that was probably around a time where a lot of breweries were really starting to take off, right? It was like a big boom for that in that time period, right?
It felt a little past the boom. As compared to now, I think it was definitely much more of a positive environment. There were a lot more of them opening. But yeah, we December we signed the lease, and opening in July is not too bad in retrospect. Those 7 months felt like a whole lifetime.
The thing I was going to ask you is, so you're about you're in your 9th year now of being a brewery and owning a brewery. Is that right, guys?
Yep. This summer will be 9.
Coming up on your 9.
Does it feel like it's been that long? Has it been a fun ride so far and 9 years? You look back and you're going, have we really been doing this for 9 years?
That feels like a flash sometimes, and sometimes it feels like 20 years. But
I think that's a yes and a no. Like it just happened, but then it's been almost a decade at this thing. So.
We were just kind of talking today about 10 years basically, and looking at what the next 10 years might be.
You got to start planning the big 10-year blowout now.
Yeah.
So that's quite a milestone.
Yeah, we do. We just scheduled the 9th anniversary one this summer.
Nice.
Do you remember that?
I was going to say it's kind of an interesting conversation when you think about you've come your way 9 years, and then you're saying, what's the next 10 years going to look like? And can you even imagine? In your heads, like what can you imagine that in 10 years that how things are going to look like at your brewery,
right?
Or how you would like them to look like?
What's the market going to look like? What's beer going to look like?
Yeah.
You don't really know. We had an idea of what New Groove was going to be when we come from a concept, and it's kind of become its own entity. It's got its own character. We're just a part of that. So, like, where does this go? Where does this brand evolve from here? Where does it shift? Where does it move to? What's it going to become over the next 5 years, 10 years? It's a fun journey for sure.
So, Josh, obviously, New Groove, I know from knowing Jonathon, it combines a couple of his passions around music and around beer. are you a music aficionado as well? And that, part of your shared vision for New Groove?
I like music.
Yeah.
I just bought a guitar. I'm about 4 lessons in on it. So
Nice.
as I'm getting older and losing hobbies to business life here, I've learned I need some more hobbies outside of that. I do tear up the karaoke mic, so I've got that going for me as well. But, no official designation for any musical talents on my end.
We've got half a band started already now. And you can sing. So, do some of those original home brews that you guys were doing or homebrew recipes, did they carry over into the brewery, and are any of those kind of still active now?
They did, and a lot of them are, and some of them are pretty unique from both of ours. Probably the most unique one is we still do every summer. That was Josh's recipe. That's our Angry Tomato Monster. So it's a tomato, basil, jalapeno pale ale, and inspired from a sandwich. Do you want to talk about it, Josh? Kind of how that beer came to be?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I had a buddy that opened up a sub shop with his family, local Spartanburg. We were just kicking it in a bar and talking about making a beer, and I was like, I'm gonna make a beer for you. We're gonna put tomatoes in it. And he's like, shut up. So started working on a recipe and got together with our buddy our friend Andrew, head brewer at Swamp Rabbit Brewery now. When he's working in the homebrew shop at Thomas Creek, I took the idea to him, and he was like, "Hey, let's put this into a pale ale base, and let's work with the tomatoes, basil, they had tomato, basil, jalapeno." So step back a little bit. Their logo for Monster Stubs is an angry tomato. It's just got like a tomato with teeth on the front, and then they're Italian, so you got the basil, and then a little bit of a kick for that angry from the jalapeno. So I brought those ideas to him. He's like, yeah, let's throw this into a pale ale base. We've since adjusted that to
more of an amber ale now.
Amber ale, yeah.
Entered, the first couple of years, and we entered that in a contest, and they're like, it doesn't taste like a pale ale. And like, it's not supposed to taste like a pale ale. It's a tomato beer. But when you do a fruit beer or vegetable beer, you have to tell them the base style, and they expect that. So it just made me kind of think outside the box, and so we kind of lean into the redness of the tomato, and it's just more of a sort of amber base, like 5%. And you have people all the time come in and they're like, "Ooh, I don't know about that. Let me taste it." And then they taste it and they're like, "Oh, I don't think I could drink a whole one." And then they drink 3 of them, and it's like, yeah, you can. It's not, it's not thick like tomatoes. It's just red.
That was something that I had made note of when I was looking on your website at some of the different beers, and I put down that one, Angry Tomato Monster. I don't know if I've ever walked into a brewery and I've seen a brewery name or a beer name like that, and some of the other ones you have as well. It seems like you guys have a lot of fun with naming your beers.
We try to have a lot of fun with everything.
Yeah,
there's definitely, it's hard to continue to be creative and come up with new things. Most things have been done to some degree before. We're always trying to find, fun new names and hooks and stuff. A lot of musical references, a lot of marching arts, or sometimes pop music, or try to tie things in.
So is it like both of you guys that are coming up with the names, or is it, kind of a collaboration? You sit around the table and say, "Hey, I think I got this beer name, Angry Tomato Monster." How's that usually pan out?
Yeah, you never know. Some of them, like that one, was a homebrew, so that that name
existed. Came along with it.
Yeah, the beer's changed many times and kept the same name. And we have a few other homebrews that we still do a good bit that might be fun to talk about too. But it's just the names find themselves sometimes. Sometimes it comes down to this beer has to go on the board right now. It's ready, and I have to come up with a name. And I write the signs, so I put a name on the sign.
So you're saying there's not always a lot of thought.
We're fortunate to have a great staff that helps us, kind of a collective of putting names together, so we can go to them and say, "Hey, how are you feeling about this?" And put some names together and see what we can come up with. They doesn't always settle on theirs,
right.
But find inspiration.
Is there always like a working list, like you throw names around? Okay, maybe not for this one, but save that for something down the road.
I have a notepad for sure, and I think we had a Slack channel of beer ideas, but yeah. Nice. Try to keep a going with, but a lot of times it just comes down to the beer, and it distills out.
Yeah.
Something comes up.
So 9 years in,
Yeah. Well, in
Yeah.
my phone, I just have a
there you go.
a notes.
Hey Siri, take this, write down this.
Somebody
So
says
you
something,
guys,
you're like, that's a good name.
you guys are 9 years in now. Like, how is it the same of what you thought about back in 2016 getting started, and how is it different from what you set out to do?
Wow. Yeah. I talked about the build out felt like a lifetime, and it's, you're that feels like your whole life for a few months, and then opening day happens, and it's like that that all changes to something completely different that, becomes
So what
every
was
day.
it? Was the build out challenge? Was it the brewery equipment? Was it the the kitchen
Just
equipment?
and the
all the
project
above?
management, just, whatever, getting everybody there at the right time. And this has to be done before that can be done. And this needs to be done before that can be done. And, getting everything happening in the right order and
The regular
right person.
construction delays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
there was one construction delay.
Yeah, and there was we had some adventures, which feel like just distant memory now. But no, I mean it's yeah. I don't think I've regretted it. I wake up and get pretty excited about going to work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you guys sound, that it's a family friendly environment. It's kind of community driven. Was that always the intent? Is like, I really want to have kind of a community center here, and a bunch of regulars that come in and can bring their whole family and enjoy it, or that's just how it's evolved?
I feel like we stayed true to that concept, or that concept stayed true to the brand, or kind of hung with the brand. That's what makes New Group special. Is a place for community to come out and bring your kids if you want, but know that they are in a tap room where adults are drinking. But yeah, that was our vision for the community that we've been able to be a part of and grow into, was there from day one.
So yeah, Josh, that's a good point, because as you said, you oversee more of the food aspect of it. When you all started your brewery, was food like as important as the beer, or as the beer community has grown and demands have grown, as we've seen the shift, has it become as important, to make sure that's also a big priority and focus, because that's what people also want?
Yeah, first starting, it was mainly like in our state in South Carolina, you're required to carry a DHEC license to purchase guest beer and wine, and open on Sundays at that point. The laws have changed a little bit since then. I'm not sure how they've shifted from where we were at that point. But yeah, first opening, we opened with pre-sliced lunch meat sandwiches, kind of a sandwich kitchen concept, a big pretzel that we threw on a panini press, and I think that was it. Sandwiches and chips and Zapp's chips and pretzels. And we found there was an opportunity to expand that kitchen. So we saw there was an opportunity to improve the business through expanding our kitchen, and started adding some items, beer brats and hot dogs, and then developed into smoked meats, and now we do smash burgers, chicken wings, and all kinds of fun stuff, fun specials and things of that sort. But yeah, so initially food was kind of a secondary part of it, and now it's just as much, it's just as essential to the business as the beer side at this point for us.
Is there a lot of pairing?
It's definitely evolved a lot, though. The evolution of that from when we opened is pretty interesting.
Is there
The whole concept's changed.
Is there a pairing between some of the beers and the food? Is there a thought process to that too?
Not a whole lot. I would say not a whole lot in the making of the beer. The beer still is primarily what New Groove is, and the food comes along with that. I would say we'll take what is available through the taps, or and just kind of tie that into the seasonal food specials, whatever we're working with at that point. We do every week. I do a special wing sauce and a burger Thursday, unique burger every week. So we're tying a beer in with that for the beer pairing. We recently started doing a beer of the week, put out onto our platforms, and tying that into the wing sauce and Burger Thursday specials as well.
I did see something on your social calendar about a Girl Scout cookie and beer pairing. It seemed to be a recurring thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that was intriguing for sure.
Yeah, I think this is the second year we've done it, maybe, and it's like a 2-week long period. We've picked 3 cookies and picked 3 beers, 2 beers that we already had on, and a third that we made for this event. And so you can buy a flight of 3 beers and 3 cookies and taste them together.
And then whose kid is getting credit for all those Girl Scout cookie sales?
There's a troop that comes on the weekends, or is supposed to come on the weekend and sell actual boxes of cookies. So right now we're not selling the cookies, but we are providing a place for them to come sell them on the weekend.
Jonathan, you'd look good in the little brownie outfit for sure.
I'm gonna get the pizza party selling them those cookies.
There you go. That's right.
Guys, we did an episode. It was our episode 105, and it was at the end of the year last year. And the episode was, and it was me and Chris and Steve. We all had our own list, but it was top 10 beers that we all had in 2025, new beers. And the reason that's significant is because Chris's list had 2 of your beers on it.
Oh, wow.
2.
Yep.
And he could probably he could talk more about them if he's got the names there. But I know there were number 4 or number 5 and number 4. Steve's got them pulled up if you need to know the names. But he mentioned those and he was describing them. And they were like, before the episode was over, we're like, we got to get these guys on, hence us being here. But he was talking up these beers so highly. We're like,
What beers were they?
Yeah, I don't remember which 2 they were, to be honest
Steve, I
with
know
you.
they're
but
on your
I
list
think
if you want to read them out.
it was probably something from the Masterworks, and then I know some was some side project that I had when I was there that I had rated on my top 10, but there were definitely a couple.
Well, I got your back on it. The one was I see a Pilsner and I want to paint it black. Is that right?
Yeah, I want it painted black.
Painted black. Yeah.
Yep. And
You
then
talk about
the
something
other one
unique.
was Turmoil and Tinfoil, and it was, as you said, part of the Masterworks series, a double pastry Imperial Stout. There was a 16.5% collab with Zool. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. So the Masterworks is a bottle society, a barrel aged bottle society. We have kind of 2 groups, and we talked about the community that we build. One of them is a social kind of locals that meet once a month, and there's perks they get with it, but basically we have a bottle share once a month and share some food, share whatever things that are coming up, and they bring in things to share. But then so that's kind of like our social. That's the Groove Club, and that's our social group. And then we have the Masterworks Bottle Society, and that's a group where you can basically join that society, and we come out quarterly. We release beers, and so they get 2 bottles of each one that comes out each quarter, and then the welcome bottle for the years. Keeps it. We kind of know that we have that market for those barrel aged beers, and we know when we need to put them out and how to put them out. And Turmoil and Tinfoil was from the second year. We brewed it with Zool. They came down for a beer fest that we hosted at the brewery. I think that was the first Woodstock, Crispy Fest or Woodstock. I can't remember.
One of the Crispy. It might have been Crispy.
Actually,
Fest.
Crispy Fest 2021. I got the notes open. Yeah, so they came down for a beer fest. They were brand new at the time, and we brewed a big stout and put most of it away into barrels at least, and that became Turmoil and Tinfoil. Added toffee we have a local toffee company that. Toffee with a T. I feel like I'm saying coffee, but it's toffee. So with vanilla and it came out great. We used peanuts too.
Right?
Yeah, peanuts.
Got peanuts in that Zool collab.
Yeah, they're big on the peanuts with the peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, so we used some of that same technique that they use for the peanuts in here.
I'm actually drinking a Zool tonight. It's called Blood Ice, and it's a sour fruited. But
Nice.
it's only like 6.6%, so it's not, it's not that high ABV of what you do with them.
Finen,
Is it an ice
Zool's
beer?
pretty good though.
You actually, Zool's making an ice beer. They're bringing those back.
Blood Ice, yeah, there you go.
something.
No, it's a basically it's a sour beer with watermelon, mango, and pineapple. It's pretty good though. Yeah. In fact, I didn't even know I had a Zool in my refrigerator. I looked at it and I'm like, hey, I got a Zool. All right.
Yeah, they're good dudes. Make great beer.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten to know them pretty well since then, even? And done more with them?
Yeah, we kind of see them a couple times a year now. But yeah, they're good. They're good friends. We go to their event every year. They host that beer fest in Knoxville. They're kind enough to bring us up every time, and we bring them down to ours, and we usually see them at a couple other events throughout the year.
What is the planning that really goes into a collab like that with Zool, especially like a double pastry stout that's like 16.5%?
Well, at the time, we didn't know what the adjuncts were going to be. It was just a stout brew. Bentley, that I don't think he's there anymore, but he was their original home brewer, and he and I had an email chain going. It was actually really informative for me as far as seeing what other people do, because especially at that time we had done less of that, so getting to see how he looked at stout recipes as far as percentages of roasted malt versus caramel malts versus base malt, and how he thought of that versus how I had just kind of done it and what I knew. And it's always fun to see how other people do things, and especially somebody like that gain some information.
Well, when and not that you can't get it, but when Finen does go down that way, so Zool just came to Nashville, like literally. They just started, took over Southern Grist. So when he goes, we'll send him with a bunch of Nashville Zool, and we'll do a little beer spot for your stuff when he gets down there.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah,
Nashville.
back to the Masterworks again. Great tie-in with music again. In the branding there, and I noticed the logo is actually like a bass drum. It's a barrel mounted on somebody playing like a bass drum, which is great. But you want to talk about kind of your Masterworks series and that kind of wood age program that you do? I think that's a regular thing that you guys are doing now, right?
Yeah, it's something we've really leaned into. Yeah, so the Masterworks it gives us we know we can sell this, how many of those bottles a year, and so it gives us an opportunity to plan for that a little bit better, which we really enjoy. So basically we have about 40 barrels at any one time full in the brewery. It's something that we're patient with and passionate about. So we brew these big beers and we put them in there. I don't really treat them as finished until 18 months and start tasting and figuring out what we want to do with them. Occasionally we use them, need something a little bit sooner. The Zool beer is set for 21 months, but some much longer. So, and we're really enjoying double barrels, like something will be in a Willet bourbon barrel for 2 years and then come out and go into a like a cognac barrel or something different for a little while, and layering those different flavors. French oak versus American oak provides different flavor components, and particularly in our barley wines, we really enjoy exploring those different types of oaks and the layers of flavor you get from that.
You guys,
have y'all had any barley wine?
Yeah. Josh, I think it was you. It was on an interview. Maybe it was on YouTube, and they were talking about maybe just some of the stuff you done, some of the barrels you get. You had mentioned Barrique. I think that was you at Branch of Barrique, and then I saw Barrique on your vendor list of Woodstock 2026. Do you guys have a relationship with them, and is that kind of because of they do those wild ales, and those barrels probably really lend themselves to the stuff you guys do? Yeah,
they usually actually they didn't come in 2026, but they were invited, not able to come this year. But definitely friends and great wood components, and they provide a lot more of the sour, and then even the lighter. I love some of the lager. We do some wood lager stuff as well, and they're one of the few others that bring around that kind of stuff as well. Also a musical connection. He's the sound guy for Darius Rucker, right? Did you know that?
Did not. Isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah,
maybe
cool.
It's another reason we like that place so much.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Yeah.
And,
I love how they've really leaned into the lager thing too, and they're making amazing lagers.
I'm a little sad. We need a moment of silence for Barrique. They closed up their tap room.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
a little sad. Yeah, they closed their tap room at the end of the year. They're I'm not sure if they're gonna come up somewhere else. I mean, but little sad to see them go. They were a favorite.
Yeah. I don't think they'll completely go away. I don't know what's going to happen to them, but they had, if you've ever been into the tap room, they had hundreds and hundreds of barrels, and they were all full of beer. Yeah. So they had beer to last a long time, but we don't know what's going to happen to it, where it's going to be. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's sad because we love those guys.
Yeah, me too.
So they were losing their location to some eminent domain development of the city there, and I guess just didn't have a plan of where they could find another place.
Yeah, hopefully they'll find another spot.
God, I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, they can store some of those barrels here, but it can only get probably 6 or 8 in the garage. We'll get some of Chris's. We'll get some of Steve's.
Your Masterworks series kind of lended itself then to the Woodstock annual event that you guys have. You want to talk a little bit about Woodstock? I guess it was about a month ago, right? Right at about a month ago now, right?
Yeah, it's the first Saturday in February. We've kind of I guess we like that date because it gets through dry January and it's still kind of barrel aged beer in the winter seems to go well together. So we just had it. It was a little different look for us this year. We moved it to off site to a partnered with a hotel downtown to provide an inside location, huge room inside where we could have it. In the past, it's tents in the back and dealing with weather. So took that variable out a little bit, and it had a lot of fun. We had about 30 other breweries visit, some from all over the country, and really enjoy. We talked about the community earlier in the tap room, and this is just another type of community for us. We really love building the brewery community and having those guys come hang out and show them some hospitality and a good time, and make them sit through Josh's karaoke and have some highlights.
They demand the
They said
They won't let me leave until I do it.
they'll say that we'll come, but there's only one stipulation: we need to hear the karaoke.
Yeah, the beer gets them there, and then the sultry sounds of Josh singing brings them back. That's what keeps them coming back, right?
I look at.
Well, I mean, I figure if the brewers want to come, then the brewers are going to bring the best beer they can bring too. So we definitely the number one goal is to provide an experience that they want to come to. That's one of the things we ask is that they have an owner or brewer representative here. It keeps that feeling like you're talking to somebody that knows about the beer.
Yeah, we prefer those beer fests.
Mm-hmm.
Your list of brewery attendees, I know it says as of 11/6/25, but I mean 450 North, Steve Streetside out of Cincinnati is on that list.
Yep.
I mean, just killer names on this thing. I mean, it's awesome.
Fabled.
Yeah.
Streetside's a great fan. Garrett, I think I'm going to get to see him this weekend. We've got a collab there. They're doing, I think it's his 10th anniversary already. They're doing a collab every month, and we're the March, I believe, spring break collab. So his family used to come down to South Carolina for spring break.
And I was going to say, it's interesting because, I obviously you see the Reds. I'm even in Nashville. I'm from Cincinnati, and Scott and I, we make a trip, once a year up there, and then I go up there to see family. So I've been to Streetside many times. And I was going to say, when I was looking at your tap room list, you do a lot of different styles that almost mimic Streetside. It kind of reminds me a little bit about the stuff they do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons we connected. I mean, you go in some breweries and you're like, I like every beer on this board.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff I like to drink. Yeah. So
Speaking of boards, I'm looking at your updated March 3rd, so it should be accurate, I guess. Your beers on your website, and I'm telling you, the first 5 are at least 14%. It starts at 14 and goes up to 16.5 on the first 5 beers. That is so cool. I mean, I would get a flight of those. I'd probably be hammered afterwards, but
if you sold those
that's still lingering.
If you sold those in Tennessee, I'd say that. Yeah, if you sold them here, they'd be 10.1% magically.
Yeah,
same beer here.
Everything's 10.1%.
Everything's 10.1.
It's a magic number. Can't go over that without a distiller's license.
You'll have to come to our Black Friday event because that's when some of those you'll notice they say Mr. Plain. They're variants of Mr. Plain. So the Mr. Plain brand is our sort of a base barrel aged stout that we release every Black Friday in bottles, and we have an event on Black Friday that kind of like a stout takeover where we do now it's a Masterworks release too. So two of the beers are the Masterworks Welcome Bottle in the first quarter for the new year of Masterworks, but the rest is of the 6 beers. Yeah, six different variants of that Mr. Plain.
There's one that says peanut brittle. I mean, that's got to be good, right?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, again, the local toffee and peanuts that we talked about with the Zool collab. It's kind of that concept.
Yeah, I'd want everyone peanut butter s'mores, German chocolate cake, peanut brittle. You've got the Woodstock 26 Festival of Barley wine. Must be left over from that. I mean,
Yeah, that's the festival bottle that we make for
Okay.
that.
Yeah, so some of these high ABV beers that you've done, easy for me to say, say that 3 times fast. Did it start out that way when you opened, or has it kind of evolved to that way?
We tried. We couldn't quite get the ABV up that high when we first
Yeah.
opened. We've got a much better brew system now. We definitely struggled with that a little bit for the first couple of years, but I mean, a lot of that the barrels pick up a good bit of that too. And when especially if you do 2 subsequent barrels, you can pick up 4, 5, 6% ABV just from the
But
barrel.
was it your intent when you started that, hey, we want to brew these type of beers, or was it just something it just kind of evolved as you got bigger and went on?
I think we were kind of always into the big ones as
Yep.
well. Really, more so the opposite has happened. We're a lot more interested in light lager now than we were when we were home brewing. Much more excited about a 4% Hellas now than I would have been in 2017 for sure. I think we were aiming everything then for 7%. That's where I liked it. The porter's still 7% because that's about where I liked it. IP's 6.9 to 7.2. In that range.
No, we didn't even intend on brewing lagers because lager takes up tank time and we
Sure.
push nails, turn and burn. But
Yeah.
then our tastes change.
Yep.
We like to sell what we like to drink.
And you like to drink, it's hard to drink 3 or 4 16 percenters. Those 4, 5, 6s
Oh,
are
yeah.
a little better.
It's actually easy, but it hurts a lot worse the next day.
It's harder the next
That's
day.
100%.
Well, and I think it's something that all 3 of us can chime in on, myself, Chris, and Scott, because as we have talked about probably really over the past year or so, we've done episodes together, the places we go, the lager game has really changed. It's changed for the better from the places we've gone to and also from the brewers like yourself and brewery owners of how there's more of a demand for that now. Can you guys speak on that?
That's definitely every event we go to. Probably the most beer that gets drunk at Woodstock is High Life.
Just
So
to
I
balance
mean,
out.
the brewers that are here hanging out aren't drinking 16% beers,
Right.
the night before or whatever. I mean, granted, that day, we're all trying them, and obviously the people that are here are passionate about that kind of stuff in general. But I think when I go in, the first thing I look for is, if I see he talked about his favorite, one of the favorite beers was our dark lager, and that's something that I definitely look for. If I see a dark lager on a tap board, I'm probably going to try it, and it's a good place, I think, to kind of see what a brewery's into when you try that beer.
Do you feel like if you go
So for your barrel age stuff, Jonathan, are you seeking out a certain barrel? Do you come across stuff and you're like, ooh, that'd be kind of interesting, willet barrel maybe, or are you actively seeking a certain type of barrel to see what it might do?
Some of both. I'm actively seeking wet barrels and fresh dumped quality barrels. We have a pretty good relationship because it's something we do pretty often. We have a pretty good relationship with the barrel broker. I still check with a few other ones from time to time. Barrels, it's interesting to see the price fluctuation. Barrels are pretty cheap right now, which is probably because not good for part of the industry, but it's good for us buying spent barrels at least. So a lot of times I'm looking for a specific type of not necessarily brand, but just what's fresh and what's good. Sometimes something really interesting comes across. Every once in a while I'll get a text from the barrel guy that hey, this is coming up, are you interested? And usually am if it's something like that. So some pretty interesting barrels came across recently with we got some double oak, and then there was a different one that uses a combination of staves that's supposed to be reminiscent of baking spices. It was used to finish a bourbon just for 4 months, I think. So it's got a lot of the oak still in it and barely the spirit. And we put a second use beer again as a second barrel in that to get those flavors. I'm pretty excited about that. So you see something interesting come across and you pull, if a Pappy barrel came, I would buy it no matter what, But otherwise, for your Willet barrels are usually pretty solid.
When you get those barrels and there's some liquid still sloshing around in there, do you ever try to get any of it?
Oh yeah, that's the best. Yeah, Josh remembers one of our first attempts at barrels. We had some Blanton's barrels. They were Buffalo Trace barrels, but then we bought them as Buffalo Trace. But on the end on the heads it said BLTN, like in Sharpie, on each of them. We're like, these are Blanton's, and they each had a solid quart left in them.
There's a lot.
No way,
yeah.
really? You think they'd get every drop?
Doesn't
of that
usually happen like that. That was early on, and came from a place in Kentucky, and those came out really nice.
But you got some of that liquid out of that barrel before you used the barrel, right?
Oh yeah, one of them. Yeah, we dumped one and into a jar and filtered it. I try to leave it. I try to taste. I want to taste it, but I don't want to take it all out either. I like leaving it there as much as possible.
Yeah, because the point of getting the barrels to get that flavor in there and get that juice.
Absolutely.
So. There's Jonathan. I think when you got on, and maybe you still are, you were drinking a THC beverage. One that you guys made.
Probably the opposite of the 16% beer we're talking about is this. We call them mood waters. And we do, this is the 2 milligram, and this one's citra lemon lime. So it's a hop water. To me, it's kind of beer adjacent because of the hops, and it sort of hits I drink a lot of LaCroix during the day as well. And so this kind of replaced that at times. The 2 milligrams enough that I, can stay functioning. We also do a 5 milligram mango. That's kind of the baseline where everybody is. And then we have a 12 milligram black cherry it's a good end of the evening finisher.
But
Nice.
but not just that, but like non-alcoholic beverages are big right now and important in the tap room too, right? I mean, you go.
They are any way we can diversify, especially January. Everybody talks about dry January, and I think this might be the first year that it hasn't felt like that increased. It definitely has been a stronger thing every year, but people are looking for other answers. At least while we can, right now we can. THC water is a solution, so hopefully that stays.
I saw something on your website that you were you had a local mead, a local meadery. I think that you were putting in. The
Unfortunately, they've gone out of business.
Yeah.
Yep. They're hopefully going to reopen. They closed that location and aren't manufacturing anymore, but are looking at a spot to reopen.
Are a lot of these non-alcoholic drinks that you're now serving and seeing what you're doing there? Could you imagine that would have been the case when you opened back in 2017?
No, we would have made fun of everybody, right?
Not at all. Yeah.
So what's that done? So what's that done then? I mean, because I guess you're all sitting around and seeing the trends. I mean, when did you start seeing the trends where you guys said, okay, we got to start doing something about this? Otherwise, we're going to not being able to meet consumer demand, right?
Right. I mean, it's not.
We need to have those options there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we know Moodwater's not saving the business or anything. I mean, it's it's just another choice and another outlet, and it's we like it too because it's really easy to distro. There's no distribution requirements, so I can, unlike alcohol, I can sell it from a cart on the street if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to deal with. And we do non-alcoholic beer, athletic non-alcoholic options. Yeah, Untitled Art. Yep, you're right. And so we kind of have some other choices.
That could be the difference. Having something like that, anything non-alcoholic or THC, might be the difference between someone showing up and not. And I'm not even talking like a single person. I'm talking like a group of people. Hey, we all want to go do something. This one person doesn't like beer, doesn't like or is doing dry January or something. But that could be the difference of someone coming in or not, just even having something along those lines.
Yeah, or staying for another round or not. If somebody's uncomfortable because they don't want to drink. Yep. And we do wine. We do. You mentioned the mead. We do a local cider from a cidery that's not very far away. And so we try to provide multiple options for sure.
Now, I think food is a big part of that too. And I mean, you guys have really leaned into the menu and food options and lots of interesting things. And is that becoming a greater percentage of the business? Or I think that's a key thing to people staying around. Or one person in the group is hungry and they're like, well, let's just go here. We can drink and we can eat. And it seems like it's a pretty key thing to give you a lot of flexibility in your business.
And we definitely uptick in soda sales, and we now carry bottled tea because we have people that come in that aren't there. Shockingly, aren't there for the beer. Yeah, it's the people that come in just for the food, and
that's good.
Yeah, everybody eats now. Where before it was,
that's right.
Yeah, it would be like a percentage. Like somebody might grab a sandwich because they had like one too many.
Yeah.
But now it's everybody eats.
Yeah, it's dry January. It's not hungry January. Right. We're not starving January.
Word artesian in your name, it's got to have some significance. Was that something planned ahead of time? What significance does that have to you guys to make sure that's in the name of the brewery?
I think for me, it just speaks to the we were trying to be craft, and as you know, our original concept, which we've things have evolved a little bit, but was you go into or for us that was new to go into a tap room that has a chalkboard menu, and it's chalkboard because it changes every day, and you expect to come in. The whole reason you go is because you expect to have something new every time and be able to try a new beer. And so the original idea was, how close can we get to that, but where we make the beer. So obviously we're not changing them every day because we have a business to run and have to make it in quantity a little bit. But that name to us speaks to just the craftsmanship and kind of flexibility, I guess, in what we produce. And I get asked all the time, is your beer consistent? Do you make the same beer every time? And I was like, I'm not trying to make the same beer every time. I'm trying to make a better beer every time. So I mean, if I can change the recipe, I don't need it to taste exactly like it tasted last time. I just need it to be good. If I can make it better, I'll change it.
So do you try to put do you brand them as a year, a certain year on there just to differentiate?
No, I kind of wish we could. And, I have that thought before. We've about, how we could obviously we can't date code cans because we just don't have the technology. But we've played around with, paper stickers or whatever. And, just trying to, because it was important to me as a consumer to know how fresh that beer was. And it's something we could probably be better at.
How many, and I think I know the number, but you guys have like a shit ton of taps. Can you talk about how many you've got? I think it's like 20 or something, right?
It's 20. We opened with 16, but planned room for extras. And when we there was something that happened where we I guess coming out of COVID, where we made some improvements in general equipment, and one of them was we added 4 taps, 2 on either end. So it's still nice and centered and pleasant looking. So we have 20 taps. The problem is the cooler space is pretty limited, so it's sometimes difficult to have 20 taps worth of beer necessarily, but that happens.
And then
We're probably about 16 now.
Are those all New Groove, or do you have guest taps?
We don't, as a rule, we don't really have guest taps. We do right now we're serving through some leftover stuff from Woodstock. So there's like 450 North. There was a barrel aged pastry stout on. Actually, Streetside's it's a Streetside beer on right now from that. So it's pretty cool that you can come into New Groove right now and have a beer that you won't be able to get anywhere else. Even at those breweries don't have them anymore.
Cool.
So we're rotating through one guest tap with that, but other than that, they're all New Groove beers. Yeah.
So I was looking through the event calendar, and I think it's awesome. I mean, it seems like you guys are having regular events, which is great for driving kind of your regular crowd business. But one thing was a New Groove Run Club, which I think is great for getting the community, driving that community aspect. But I noticed it was 2 hours. Who is going and running for 2 hours before they come and drink beer?
Not me or Josh. I think it's more of a start time, and then whenever they get back, they get back.
No, is that just for the spouse? So you can be like, oh, I'm running for 2 hours, and it's really, I'm going to run around the building, and then I'll be in here for an hour and a half.
We're right by a Walmart, so we have people that come to get groceries and drive, the other side of town. We have a buddy that comes to the gas station that's right in front of us, just because that's clearly where he needs to go to get gas, so he can come have a beer.
Honey, why do you come home? Why do you come home hammered from the Run Club?
It's like, when you're going to go drink those big beers, let's burn a few calories ahead of time. Hey, can you guys describe the tap room a little bit? Kind of give the layout for us. I know Chris has seen it. We've not seen it.
Well, it's interesting because it's an old convenience store, so it's got a curvy front of the building and glass around the front that we thought looked groovy from the get go. So it's kind of like that's interesting. Bill and Josh was driving by it. He lived out that way, and he was actually he found it driving by and saw a sign in the window that said for rent, and so 4,400 square foot. Have think about a convenience store that used to have a huge cooler, like a beer cooler L shaped on one wall. Took that out, and that's where the brewery is now. So that floor space and kind of that L shape. And a lot of barrels and wood and the standard sheet metal that you're required to have inside of a tap room. the standard issue string lights, but ours were in the 2013 Grammys.
Oh, really? Nice.
How'd you get-
Bought them on
There's
Etsy.
a story there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Tell that
just off
story.
Etsy, authentic.
Uh-huh.
Could have
Yeah,
went to
so
Home
we-
Depot, but
Not just the normal Home Depot lights. These are clearly from the anyway. Yeah, so we really try to focus on the environment in the tap room and the lighting and the vibe.
a lot of
Yeah,
art
obviously.
from local artists
Go ahead.
that commissions the art there on display for sale and barrels everywhere.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely remember seeing a lot of artwork that was on display when I was
Mhm.
there. So that's another great community tie-in. With the music tie-in, are you guys hosting? You doing music events or anything like that in the tap room?
Well, that's one of those things that's changed, I think, from our original ideas of what we thought the tap room would look like. We used to have a lot more live music, and it's really difficult to kind of keep that fresh with the people that are around and affordable and feel like it's people are coming there for the music. So and with the combination of that and ASCAP and BMI and all the fees that you have to pay to have that. So that's become less and less kind of a characteristic, unfortunately. It's something we love and we were really excited about having as part of the tap room, but we've had to kind of make some tough decisions in that aspect.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, we're here in Nashville, and I mean, you can't go to a Chick-fil-A without there being live music.
Yeah.
I mean,
In the
That's
airport.
true.
Yeah.
in the airport and everything.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just want to go and have a conversation and shoot the shit with some buddies and not have to scream over, someone that's trying to make it big. So I don't think that's necessarily a terrible thing. I just, with your brand is obviously heavily music in the way you brand your beers and those kind of things. So I was just curious if there was any kind of live music aspect to it.
Yeah, we used to do every Friday and Saturday and just had to kind of, now we do events. We still like to kind
Hey,
of.
if you
make
really
that
want to
part of
drive
events.
customers, man, get a live drum line in there and just have them
There
play
you go.
full double forte, like banging on some snare drums. That'll get people excited.
we can send Finen over from here.
There you go.
I can see a picture on your website of the tapper, kind of from a further perspective, and I could see the string of lights up there. So they are very Grammy lights. I could see.
Yep. Authentic, bona fide.
That's cool. It's got a good vibe in there, man. We gotta go down there and check it out one day. Get out that way. How far are you from Asheville?
About an hour.
Really? It's only an hour?
About an hour south. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to Asheville the end of April, so that might be part of the journey.
Yeah, it's hard to get bored in Asheville, but if you do, we're not very far away.
If we run them out of beer.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else for you guys?
I had a question, Jonathan. You had mentioned before we started recording that this was a brew day for you when you were brewing beer. Is that like your? I don't know how many days a week you do it, how often you do it, but is that like your favorite time when you're in there brewing the beer?
I mean, it is really rewarding, and yes, because it's the other days are more figuring out how to solve a problem or get a task done, and brewing is I know what what needs to be done to get this done. So it is nice and straightforward. Yeah. And at the end of the day, nothing feels as good. Since we've opened, I've loved that feeling of turning out the brewery lights, walking out, because usually the tap room is busy by then, they're starting to get going or whatever. And there's people over there enjoying and shutting those lights out and either walking to the bar for a beer or hurrying home for a podcast.
but obviously you've been doing it for a while. But from like, do you have everything down? Like, here's the recipe. This is what I want. I know
it depends what we're brewing.
It can't be seamless like that all the time, right? Like just boom, 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 boom.
No, and I mean it would be nice if it was. Even some of the things that, like I said, I still change things from time to time just because that's what I do too. The one today was definitely one that it's a wheat beer that we've had on in some capacity since we opened as well. So it's something it's dialed down and it's easy. There's a lot of other ones that I might be trying something new, or especially doing decoctions on the lagers, or different techniques and stuff that we try. It can make things more difficult. But the one today is definitely cut and dry and got it done easy,
Awesome.
rewarding.
Yeah.
I've always said even on if it's a bad day, at the end of the day you're still just making beer. So like,
Right.
how bad
Exactly.
can your day be?
Not
Right.
a bad day
At the end of the day, it has to be a real bad day for it not to end
Yeah.
with having made beer.
I would think so. Yeah.
Fiona batch 2, right? Fiona's coming up too.
Yeah, we have a we call it Fiona because it's an apple milkshake IPA. So Fiona apple milkshake IPA.
Nice.
That we use, and we've brewed that since the first year too, I think, and use Granny Smith apples, or it's been different apples. Now it's Granny Smith apples that we Whirlpool to get the pectin, like the original concept of the milkshake IPA, to get some of the pectin out of the fruit to add body. And that process over the years that beer over the years has always been it's always just been a problem. It finds ways. It finds a way every year to make life difficult. It seems like, and I'm brewing it next Tuesday. So
Well,
I think
it's
this
funny.
system we got it kind of dialed down. But
It's funny because you were talking about Street Side earlier, and I feel like maybe this would be a beer that you all would do. The last time I was up there, and I bought a 4-pack of this, and I brought Scott one back, and it was called. It's a sour fruited called "This Shit Is Bananas." And basically it was packed with like bananas, maple syrup, pancakes, and it all came out well. Like it felt like you were actually, boom, 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 having a pancake with syrup and bananas. And I just went, man, this thing is wild. And but I absolutely loved it, and I feel like that's something that maybe over years you guys have done, similar styles of that.
we've
kind of
done
thing.
donuts. That was
Yeah.
another thing that we started out with. From the cidery that we talked about, they do cider donuts
Sure.
in the fall, and so we've done a stout with the donuts in the Whirlpool. Blows everybody's minds. Yeah, and it's fun to do the release day, and we put a donut on top of the
Oh, yeah.
glass. So
Yeah.
you buy a pour, and it comes with a donut. We've had them here making donuts out front live for a couple of times. That was
But
fun.
that smelled good.
That is fun.
Hey, Josh, anything wild coming from the food side of things? Introducing anything new? Or?
Well, we're getting ready to, we got the beer of the week this week. Our featured beer is PB&J, what we call it, PB Sesh, peanut butter
Jam
and jelly.
sesh.
Jam Sesh, sorry.
Jam session, yeah.
doing-
All right.
Today we did some peanut butter and jelly wings. I'm doing a peanut butter and jelly burger tomorrow.
Nice.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That'll be a fun. Then we've got our St. Patty's Day coming up. We'll do some fun corned beef and
Oh,
cabbage.
yeah.
And I'll be
Oh, yeah.
the same.
So, do you have a background in food or food service or anything? Or just
No,
just
no,
kind of
I
passion?
work. Yeah, eat a lot. Eat a lot. Of food. I've always liked cooking. Yeah, it just came out just came out of necessity. We had hired a chef several years back. Didn't work out. Then once he moved on, I kind of shifted into that role and took over there out of necessity. I guess the people get to call me a chef now. So.
Josh. Josh.
There's the Mrs. Burger officer.
My dog got out of the yard, so I'm gonna have
Okay.
to
Oh no,
pop off here.
Thanks for joining us, man.
yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Great to meet you.
You too.
Thank
You
you,
too.
sir.
We can wind up here, John. But one quick question though: do you like to, and maybe not even on purpose, but when you're in the tap room and just kind of overhear people talking about the beer or the food or something? Is that kind of a cool? Like you didn't ask them; they're just sitting there talking amongst themselves. You're hearing positive things. I mean, it's got to be a good feeling, right?
It's still cool to go to. I still send pictures when I go to tap houses and see even my friend's beer on. It's like I know the person that made that beer. I can text them. So yeah, it's. I mean, and people are so nice, and it is really cool to hear things like that and to go out in the community and hear things. It's still, like I said, the best feeling is seeing your beer on a list somewhere, or
Now,
somebody,
are you
a
distributing?
podcast.
Are you looking to distribute at all, or
We distribute a little bit in South Carolina.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of production capacity and storage space. Especially the cooler space for as far as how we can. Right now, everything we send out, which is we just kind of send out a portion of each batch, basically, and it all gets gone. So we don't really have a need to look for sending it anywhere else yet.
Yeah. At this
Well, and
point.
you like that too because you got that turnover. Now you can go make something else, right? You're moving that one out,
Yeah.
moving something else in. Because I'm sure you've got something right behind it.
That was definitely, and that's from the get go. Was the idea was to try to turn them. It gets to you get into it, and there's definitely there's a cost that you don't think about. It's just creatively of coming up with a new beer all the time and new names and a new combination of the same four hops and put them in a different order and change the label and
Yeah.
so constantly trying to come up with and every once in a while I'll get an idea that I get excited about and kind of go down rabbit holes of something new.
Yep.
So that's.
I mean, do you
look
feel
forward
like
to
you've
that.
established a few like cornerstones that like we're always going to have this, or we're always going to have this, or we're always going to have
Absolutely.
this?
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
though originally we were like, no flagships. We don't want to be those kind of breweries that has flagships. And now it's like there's people that come in that want to have the same beer every time,
They do.
and they're
Yeah.
disappointed if they don't have the same beer every time. They don't.
Right.
They don't want to spend that cost of trying something new and figuring it out and finding what they like. They know what they like, and they want to just come in and have a Lake Bowen. And so it's kind of becomes our job to make sure that that's available for them all the time. So there's the Lake Bowen is our number one. It's now a golden lager. It was a golden ale when we opened. But it's evolved into something that we like drinking better than what we did then. The other one's a porter, cold porter, like a robust porter on all the time. That actually came from a blueberry porter that I made at home brewing. Citra the Cat's our main IPA. We try to keep on all the time, and then we have variants. It was called that because my cat's previous relationship, my cats were named Mosaic and Amarillo. So that beer is Citra, Mosaic, and Amarillo. So Citra and the Cats,
Nice.
which has developed into Double the Cats, as when it was double dry hopped, or Cats in Space with when you add Galaxy or whatever. So different variants based on that. But and it has got the hazy IPA. We have a base that we like, and we can change the hops and make a new beer pretty easily.
The way you sell beer is the way I like to drink beer. I like those new ones every single time if I could get it, right?
Yeah.
And there's some that I like that I'll go back for multiple times. But man, if I can get a new one every single time, if I go to your place every day or every week, and like, what's the new one? What do we got?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
We call that on the podcast. We call that market research.
Well, that's what people all the time are like. How do you come up with beer ideas? And it's like drink a lot of beer. I mean, that's
Drink a lot of beer.
yeah.
And write it off on your taxes.
Yeah.
It's a business expense.
Yeah.
I need to open an Ellis.
But kind of going back to the original question though, like the core beers, it does seem like most breweries you go to now, they almost have like at least 4 on the same core beers that you see all the time, and then bringing in new ones off and on, and bringing some of the ones back that throughout the year, maybe seasonals or releases or whatever. So
Yeah, I'm working on organizing our portfolio a little better that way with like a calendar, just to make sure that I don't, it's when you're doing new things all the time, it's really easy to kind of get, oops, Oktoberfest isn't ready in time because I was playing around with other stuff in the tank or whatever. So it's important to make sure that we schedule out the things that are expected at certain times. And doing that has helped me kind of look at some of the variants of things that we've made over the years and schedule those. And I think I hope that it's going to help me to kind of codify a new beer each quarter or month or whatever, so we're keeping some fresh things moving through there as well.
So other than your own event like Woodstock, can we find you anywhere? Are you doing beer fests in the area or?
Yep, we do. Well, we have the State Guild Beer Fest that would be good to talk about that date real quick because it's coming up. We're pretty active in our state guild and have some things that the state needs to do better on. So it definitely helps us to when we're able to support the guild and work together. That's coming up on the 21st of March. So that's real soon down in Columbia. I think it's 150 South Carolina breweries all represented there. We have regional. We've done collabs like regionally. So we did an upstate collab in Greenville, and each kind of region has one that they compete for the best regional collab. So check
does
that out if
everybody
you're in the area.
everybody gets lit and storms the Capitol, or is that...
What's Columbia? So anything can happen.
We know
Middle of the state down there. Yeah. So we have a couple other South Carolina beer fests coming up at local friends breweries. We always come to the one at Zool. I think we've been invited to that one for next fall already. We usually go to Moore's anniversary party up in Chicago because they're cool guys and have a good time up there. And Festival of Barrel Aged Beer. We haven't completely decided we're going to do it this year. We've done it the last 2 years, but it's something we've kind of really enjoyed as far as we don't do a lot of the competitions anymore, but that's one that focuses on a style, like an area that we're pretty passionate about. So it's fun to see how it stacks up with that kind of stuff.
Now, where is that one?
That's in Chicago.
That's
It's
in
put on by
Chicago,
the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, but it's in November, and all barrel aged beer, different categories, and a lot of fun. Yep.
Do you ever get to GABF just as a consumer or to have a table at all?
I haven't. I think I've talked about it, that it's kind of something that we probably should check off the list at some point, but have not. Nope. We've done the Craft Brewers Conference a few times, which is in conjunction with World Beer Cup when they have it every other year, but haven't done GABF yet.
Did you come to Nashville? I guess CBC was here a couple of times. Were you here for those or either of them? Yeah.
Yep. Twice, I think.
We were just kind of getting. We were beer drinkers, but we were just kind of getting into this whole thing. And the second time it came here, I was like, we're missing the boat on this thing. I didn't realize how big this thing is. Right? We would jump around to different breweries and get guest taps that were into town because of it.
Yeah.
Like it was the first time we ever had like Burial in Nashville. It was, they had put some stuff. So we would jump around and do that. But then just seeing the degree of how big this thing was and all the cool stuff that was around it. Like, all right, if they ever come back here again, we're going to be right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it brings all the cool stuff to town, right?
It does. It's this influx of stuff.
Sure.
We got some distribution here. Not even just that, but some distribution lines opened up the first time it was here. In Nashville, just because of it, but stuff we couldn't get, like Three Floyds was a good example of that. We couldn't get it at that time, and those distribution lines kind of opened up because of it, and we've had it since, which is
Stayed.
Yeah, so cool stuff like that. Well, guys, anything else for Jonathon?
No, hey man, really, really cool of you to jump on with us, you and Josh both, and really appreciate it. And glad things are going well. Hate that I didn't get a chance to get over there. The last couple months. I don't know. I'll find an excuse, or I'll just pack myself in Scott's suitcase when he goes over there in April.
It's only another.
Yeah, I wish we had some beer to share. That'd be great.
I thought
y'all need to come down to Woodstock. Come down to Woodstock next year.
Are you doing any marching art stuff anymore?
Yes, I judge a lot. I'm still active, especially this time of year indoor. I did a regional in Texas last weekend. I'm going to Ohio. That's how I'm hoping to see Garrett at Streetside this weekend, because I'm judging in Dayton on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so we can edit this part out. We're gonna nerd out.
Go right ahead,
marching
go right ahead.
But yeah, Jonathon for years and years after we aged out of the activity, he taught very successfully with a bunch of groups, and then now he's moved on and now he's judging the activity. So a good way to stay in touch.
Yeah, it keeps me involved in it without during the week is hard because of the brewery, and I tried to do some of that at the beginning, and it just. Now I can focus on the brewery during the week, and we're staffed up in such a way that I can leave for the weekend and everything functions.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a great way to stay involved. At this point for me, I kind of keep the books. I'm on the board of directors, and then I don't get to participate or see a bunch of it anymore, but it's tough. It is a strain. Yeah. I mean, as you know, it's a lot of time, but it's definitely a passion. I'm glad you're staying involved. That's very cool.
Do you still play?
Yeah,
and I love that you weave beer into it too.
To.
That's a great way to
Good tie-in.
Yeah, it's good time.
Yeah, that was well planned. We thought all about it. We knew exactly what we were doing. John, do you still get to play though, just like on your own, just to jam or anything?
Not much. I do a little bit, but I'm actually kind of trying to learn banjo. I've got a banjo that I play around with. So yeah, all the Masterworks, all those beers are named after Billy String songs. So that's spend a lot of time listening to bluegrass now.
Oh, it's awesome.
Well, cool. Well, we won't keep you any
Well,
longer.
man, really appreciate you taking the time and doing this, and yeah, continued success with
thanks so much for
everything,
having
and
Yeah.
hope we get a chance to catch up soon and drink a beer in person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Y'all come see
Well,
us.
Finna gets all the credit.
will.
Finna gets all the credit for having you guys on. He mentioned it, and we were like, all right, let's do that.
Yep.
So that's what we did.
Sounds good.
Very excited. Always happy to talk to brewery owners and highlight breweries. And you know what? The good thing is now that we lured you in, we'll have to have you on again sometime.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, y'all should come down to Woodstock and do a recording from there. We have a local podcast that comes and
Yeah.
interviews people throughout the day. Y'all can come talk to people and
Would love that.
make
'Cause
something
we don't
happen.
usually have a whole lot going
Yep.
on in February, so it'd be really good to get ready to just get over there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, as long as there's not a winter storm,
Yeah.
ice
Right.
storm,
Yeah.
moving through that week.
Yeah, we
But
barely.
you just
barely
got it
missed
in. I mean, it was the week before,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Glad it didn't disrupt anything.
Other than
Yep. Well, all
other,
right, guys. Thank you
other
so
than
much.
you getting there to
Yeah.
bring beer back for us, Chris, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on the Brewery Underground podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Take
Cheers,
care,
man.
Bye-bye.
Happy 4th.
Cheers.
Happy March 4th.
Cheers.
Happy birthday, Steve.
March 4th.
March 4th.
March 4th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
March 4th.